Richard Robbins, co-founder and CEO of one of North America's top real estate training and coaching organizations, RRI, Richard Robbins International. He's had over 10,000 coaching grads and 300,000 real estate professionals have attended his conferences since 1998. An international speaker, author, and business coach, the Richard Robbins organization is designed to share the most advanced real estate business building systems with the world. Armed with one goal, to help real estate agents build a better business and live the life they love. So join me in welcoming Richard Robbins.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, now I'm getting feedback. I think maybe when, yeah, there we go. That's better. I think when we've got a couple mics on at the same time, we get feedback. So I shut mine off, Ron, while you were doing the intro, and that helped a little bit. So anyway, listen, it's great to be here. If there's a problem, just put it in the chat or yell at me, whatever the case is. But it's, oh, there's Don Walton. Yes, I see you coming in, Don. Anyway, there's a lot of familiar names I see here, which is great. Good to have you all here today. We are in very, very interesting times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a presentation that for the last week and this week I've been doing for a lot of the major brands. Obviously, this is the first time I've had the good fortune to do something for eXp. So I'm very honored and excited to be here with you all. Now, when I say interesting times, I've had many challenging times in my business career as well as my personal career. You know, I can go back to 9/11. I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm from Toronto. I live in Toronto, but I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And on that Tuesday, and one of the planes went down about 20 minutes from where I was located. I was on a 5-day tour, a speaking tour. I came to an abrupt end. I ended up getting myself to Cleveland. I couldn't get a hold of my wife. She couldn't get a hold of me. But anyway, I remember, you know, that was I've probably never been so scared in my life, was that period, because we just didn't know what was happening. And it was a very challenging time for me in the business because we had only been open for about 1.5 years when that all took place. And it wasn't like we had a lot of cash at the time. But we got through it. And then, of course, we had the 2008 meltdown, financial meltdown. That was another challenging time for us as well. And we got through that, and we're all going to get through this. So I know that right now people are dealing with tremendous uncertainty. And unfortunately, with uncertainty, it tends to make us fearful, which is, you know, not a great place to be. But I'm hoping this presentation will maybe help you a little bit, maybe give you some certainty and show you some things we all can be doing right now to for each and every one of us just to get through this challenging time. When I put this presentation together, I'm going to take you through sort of the 3 keys to staying positive and productive. When I put it together, I didn't take it lightly because I didn't want to just create a presentation that was, oh, motivational. Yeah, it's going to be great. Don't worry, we'll get through this. I'm not convinced that would have been the right message. So I wanted to make it as tactical as I possibly could to help you with what you could be doing right now so that we all can go out into the world, we can be safe, and we can make a difference. And I'm thankful to have Dana Stroud with me to switch my slides, and she's going to take you through the slides as I sort of do the talking. So I'm hoping you can take some notes. I'm sure you can. But the first point is this, is that I think what we all need to do is we need to commit to being a part of the solution and not the problem. Now, I'm going to mention that more than one way. Obviously, we all know that our number one responsibility at this point in time is to, whatever we can, to stop spreading this crazy virus that's going on. We all need to work towards flattening the curve. Now, it's difficult for us all, I understand, especially with the nice weather coming in, but that has to be our number one responsibility. But think about us as people in the real estate industry, and I think to myself, well, how can we be a part of the solution and not the problem in real estate? We all know that we've got to help flattening this whole curve. But what about real estate? So I look at it and say, well, a lot of people are asking me right now, especially in these webinars that I've been doing, they keep saying, well, Rich, like, should we be selling homes? Should we be listing homes? You know, should we be working with buyers? And I think there are people today that have to sell. There are people today that have to buy. Unfortunately, some people might have sold, they got no place to go. Some people might have bought and they need to get their home sold. So there's going to be situations where people actually have to buy or sell a house right now. Now, the choice is yours whether you choose to go out into the world and deal with them. We can do most of it virtually now anyway. But my feeling is that people need our services because in most areas, we have been deemed essential. So that tells us something. We've been deemed essential, then our responsibility is we need to do what we have to do to help people that want to buy and sell real estate if they want to. However, I do believe our responsibility is to qualify people to a degree and make sure they're in a position where they actually have to do it right now. And if they don't have to do it, maybe we should have a great discussion about maybe the pros and cons as to doing it now or waiting. And that's totally up to you and how you handle that particular situation. But if we are going to be out there in the world, I would suggest that what we all have to do, and I know most people are doing this, is, we have to get to a point now that we are not out, showing property like we once were. What we have to do is we've got to set it up so that we're doing everything, we're a part of the solution. In other words, there's no reason that we can't be using virtual tours, Matterport, 3D more than ever before. There's no reason that we can't be maybe showing the house through Facebook Live, or we can actually answer questions as we take people through a home and get to a point where we've maybe got it narrowed down to the one or two possibilities that would work for those people. And then maybe a physical showing might be required, or maybe we should look at actually setting it up where they put an offer in conditional upon actually going and seeing the home. So we do have lots of opportunities available to us and how we can do it, but there's no question that we have to make sure whatever it is we're doing right now, that we are being a part of the solution and we keep ourselves and we keep anybody we're working with safe. Right now, if we're listing a home for sale, I'd say it's probably a good idea that, the people are not maybe living in that home when it's listed for sale. These are precautions that we need to be responsible for and take. But what's interesting is there's lots of people still buying and selling real estate. If I look at the numbers, which just came out for the month of March, and I know that, the first couple of weeks were much busier than the last couple of weeks, and numbers are definitely down. But if I look at some of the numbers, March turned out to be a better March this year than it actually did last year before all of this. Now, sales are going to drop substantially as they did in the last 2 weeks, and they're going to drop substantially in April in almost every market right across North America. There is no doubt about that. However, there's still sales taking place. And if sales are still taking place, then we need to make sure we're out there doing the best to serve the people that we can serve, obviously, in a way where we're a part of the solution and we're not a part of the problem. So that would be the first point, and there's technology that can be used that is very helpful today. I mentioned Matterport earlier, but there's also iGuide, which I think is a great form that you can use as well. Okay, so I'm going to go into key number 2. So key number 1 is let's all do our best to be a part of the problem and not, or part of the solution and not part of the problem. The second is this: we need to stop selling and start helping. Now, this is where you get very tactical. I'm going to give you some ideas. However, I do believe we need to be what I call ethically opportunistic. Now, it took me a long time to be able to say those two words together, but we need to be ethically opportunistic. Now, what do I mean by ethically opportunistic? What I mean by that is that if there are people that have to buy and sell, then I think ethically it's okay to be out there doing our job. I really do. However, I think there's also areas that we might have conversations with people and say, it's not a really great idea to be out right now, and we need to be having those conversations as well. And what we want to do is, and when I say conversations, hopefully these are happening with time or Zoom or whatever the case is, but we're actually not sitting face to face with these people, because then I think we're becoming maybe a part of the problem. So let me give you a few ideas and things that you can do. And the first one is this. The first one is when I say stop selling and start helping, I'm suggesting to all of our coaching clients, and we've got a 4-week contact challenge going on right now with all of our coaching clients, that everybody take their database, everybody in your database. And what you do is, if you've got, I'm going to pick 100. If you've got 100 people in your database, and what we do is we say, okay, we've got 4 weeks, and I'm going to talk to everybody in 4 weeks. So what I would do is take that 100, if you get 4 weeks, what you got is 20 days, 5 working days, 4 weeks, divide the 20 into 100. That means every day I must be speaking with, not emailing, not texting. I must be speaking with 5 people. Now, what are these conversations going to sound like? The conversations to me, and I mean voice-to-voice conversations or face-to-face virtually with people, but not email, not texting, is they're going to just phone them up and say, hey, Julie, it's Richard Robbins calling from eXp. And the reason I'm calling you today, I've just been thinking about all of our great clients and the people that I know, and I just wanted to call. I wanted to see how you're doing. That's all you need to say. Now, they're going to open up, going to tell you how they're doing, and you're going to get into a very deep conversation. They're going to talk about the kids being home, struggling with schedules, going on economically. Now, my recommendation is do not bring up real estate. Now, if they bring up real estate, that's totally okay. But don't you bring up real estate. Because what you're doing is you're reaching out to see how they're doing right now. Now, we've got our clients doing this, and I'm telling you, the response they've been getting, absolutely incredible. So let me take you through a few ideas. Adil Ismail, he's been a client of ours now for probably 18 years. Adil sent me an email just after this whole virus started to become a really big deal in North America. And he said, Rich, I know what you're going to ask us to do. I said, what's that, Adil? And he said, you're going to ask us to start reaching out. So we made this email conversation go back and forth. And he goes, here's my commitment. He goes, I will be speaking to 10 people, voice to voice, not voicemails. I will speak to 10 people every single day, and I'm going to find out how they're doing and how I can help. We had this one conversation going on, and the lady said, well, you know, my kids love chicken, and I've been having trouble getting my hands on chicken. So Adil, without telling her at the time, you know what he did? He actually figured out where he could find some chicken. He delivered it to her front door. He left it at her front door and texted her. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that is going to deepen the loyalty he's going to have with that particular client? And there's no question it will. This, to me, is an unbelievable opportunity where we can be reaching out to people. We can be finding out how they're doing. We can just say to them, is anything at all I can do to help? And listen to them, not debate with them, just listen to them and hear what's going on in their life. And I promise you this, they will remember that call forever. And here's why they will. See, right now, if we were in a normal spring market, market's crazy, houses coming on the market, houses selling, and you phone them up, they know one of your intentions is to find out if they're thinking of buying or thinking of selling. There's no question. But when you phone up and you don't bring up real estate, where you're going to take your relationship to a brand new level, a deeper level than it's ever been before, is when they know you're at home dealing with your own challenges. They know that you're probably not doing as many sales. They know you're probably thinking about your own finances. They know you're probably thinking about your own children and their health and your husband, wife, your life partner, your own family. And they know you have your own challenges just like they have their own challenges, but you took the time to reach out and ask them how they're doing. Now, here's what we have found. We have found, according to our coaching members, over 50% of the people are bringing up real estate. Not the agent, but the public is bringing up real estate. And they're asking questions, well, what's going on in the market right now? What do you think is going to happen in the market? Are homes still closing? You know, because people want to know. So now what happens is now you have an opportunity to talk real estate, and there's a lot of people saying, well, we were thinking of doing something this spring. So what do you think we should do? Now you've opened up for this really cool conversation where between them and you maybe can have a plan as to what they should be doing, whether it's listing later or maybe they need to do something now. You're not phoning for that reason, but I think what you're going to do is you're going to find an awful lot of people that are interested in talking about real estate. My second example is this. John Ripko, he's in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. A wonderful, wonderful man. He's got a fairly large business with a pretty big team. So anyway, I was having what we call our impact coaching calls. It's where I do a call with all of our coaching members together. And anyway, I recommended they start reaching out. Now, John said, he said, for the last 10 years, I've been so busy. Yeah, we've been doing newsletters, Yes, we've been doing everything we regularly do, but he said, I have not been reaching out to my clients. So what did he make a commitment to do? A commitment to be reaching out to his clients. And in the first day, he made 40 attempts. 40 attempts, and in 40 attempts, He ended up talking, okay, to 37 people. 37 people. The number is like mind-boggling. He goes, I couldn't believe it. Everybody was picking up. And the reason is because what? They're home. And he said this, he sent me an email. He said, all were uber pleased to hear from me and even more appreciative of receiving a call and offering to help in any way I can. Now, again, what's that going to do for future relationships? Another one is Nathan Dart. Nathan Dart is down in Maryland. And of course, he was struggling in the '08 crisis. And he really struggled mentally. And he was not reaching out to his clients in '08. And anyway, he said to me, he says, Rich, if there's one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to make the same mistake that I made back in '07 and '08. He goes, I got scared, I cowered, right? He said, I was so worried about myself that I wasn't reaching out to my clients. He said, I got very, very depressed. And he said, I was stuck inside. I wasn't getting outside of myself. And he goes, I will not make that mistake this time. And he's talking to 10 people every single day. And then another one is Keith Roy. And Keith Roy is from Vancouver, British Columbia. And he actually shared a great idea with us. Yes, he's reaching out. He's making 5 contacts every single day. It is more important to be doing this now than ever before in our real estate career. But what he also did was he sent an email out, and I thought this was brilliant, and many of our clients have been doing this as well. And there's an app that you can get called Calendly, okay? Like Calendly. And you can all look it up, some of you might know about it, but what Calendly does, it allows you to send somebody an email, or you can put it on your website, and they can actually click on a link. And when the link opens up, it opens up your schedule, just times that you have opened up, and they can actually book an appointment with you. So they can book a 15-minute slot, 30-minute slot, 1-hour slot, whatever you allow them to do in the time slot you allow them to do it. So you could open up space on Monday from 10 to 12. You could open space in your calendar, Tuesday from say 2 to 4, whatever you want to do. And he sent them this really cool email, which actually came from another client of ours called Ravi Singh. And he sent out an email, and it just went something like this. Hello, everybody. I know we're going through very difficult times right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of confusion. I will be reaching out to all of you personally over the next 4 weeks to say hello and see how you're doing. But I also understand many of you might have a lot of questions regarding real estate right now. You might be thinking, are real estate sales still closing? Can we still buy? Can we still sell? Are there still sales taking place? Can lawyers close deals and attorneys close deals right now? Are they still doing home inspections? Our bank, can we still get financing through bank? And he had about 10 questions in his email, and I thought it was brilliant because many people are thinking about those challenges. And what he did, he said, if you have any questions like that at all you have to do is click on the Calendly link and open up space in my calendar when you can actually book an appointment directly with me and we'll do a Zoom call. Now, the first time he did this, he only had space to open up on Monday from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, which would be 15-minute slots. That would be 4 per hour times 2 hours. That's 8 slots. He goes, it filled up within 30 minutes of when that email went out. Then I had to open up more space on Tuesday and Wednesday. And he said it led to a lot of really cool conversations. So that's part of the stop selling and start helping. Now, the next thing in number 2 in what you begin doing to stop selling and start helping is also in email blast, or you could be posting this on social media. You could put this up on your website. But what about valuable links, okay, that people could be interested in right now? So an example of that, can you imagine that maybe what you do is you post some really interesting content of what's going on with interest rates right now? Because right now, I think it's more important to be visible than ever before. This isn't time to step back. This is time to step up, ladies and gentlemen. We got to get into the game. Like, I'm not working less right now. Like, I'm working more than I've ever worked before. This isn't a time that we should say, okay, this is a time to lay on the couch and watch Netflix or CNN. No, that's not it at all. I think the smart people, the productive agents, they're out there grinding it every single day because they understand this is when they got to make an impression of people. This when they have an opportunity to deepen their loyalty with their clients. This is when they have an opportunity to provide valuable information that will strengthen their brand. Because understand that when times get tough, Character is not created. This is when character is revealed. This is when people find out who you are and what you stand for. And hiding behind, our computers and not being out there, I mean virtually out there, I think is a huge mistake. So imagine this, if you had a post goes up, what's going on with interest rates right now? Because think about it. The Bank of Canada has lowered interest rates, but have the banks as much? In most cases, not. Well, there's a conversation you can have. There's a video you can create. There's a blog that you can write. There's something you can post on social media. What about local businesses maybe that are especially the restaurants, they're serving food and they're maybe delivering food, or you can pick up food, like support some of these local businesses in your community. What about legislation changes? What about information on putting your mortgage payments on hold and how that all works? What about free apps that people could be using with their children and how they can, virtually tour museums? Like, I can go on and on. There's a million ideas that you could be posting on a regular basis, because now what's happening, we're reaching out, we're actually talking to people, and then second of all, what we're doing is we're posting valuable content. So that would be number two. We're making ourselves very visible right now. And then the third, if we're going to be posting valuable content, then I think what we also need to do every day is we need to be finding content. So imagine you say, what I'm going to do? I'm going to post valuable content 3 times a week. Maybe you're going to post it twice a week. Maybe you're going to post it 5 days a week. That's totally up to you. But what I'm saying is every day be looking for something to post. There's always great content that you can post. So every day say, I'm going to find 1 post a day. And let's say you're only going to do 3 a week. That's okay. That means you're going to have 2 that you're thinking about doing for Wednesday. Decide which one is the best. Because the more you have, you now can pick from the best. Every day, find something of value that you could potentially post. Okay? So that's my suggestion in terms of stop selling and start helping. I think today it's more important than ever before that we need to be of service. There's Tom Story is one of our great clients. He said that visibility is more important than ability. And right now we have this amazing opportunity to be visible. And what's cool with technology, it's so easy to be visible. We got Facebook Live right now. We got Instagram Live. Obviously, we can be in those news feeds as well. We can email to our database. It's just amazing what we can be doing today to get out there in the world. And most of this is free. That's the coolest thing in the world. Everybody today can broadcast for almost nothing. It's amazing. And number 3 is we need to be strengthening our mindset. Now, I'm going to take a bit of a different position on strengthening our mindset. A lot of people say, well, you need to read positive stuff, motivational stuff. And I agree with all of that. However, I think number 1 way we can strengthen our mindset by getting outside of ourselves, by focusing on helping others. It's interesting, whenever we, as humans, me included, when we move into these challenging times, because we don't know when there's an end to this. That's one of the biggest problems right now is we don't know when there's an end to this. And because we don't know when there's an end to this, inside we have tremendous uncertainty. We all have fears. We're probably fearing for the health of our family, our extended family, our friends. Nobody wants to be infected with this virus, obviously. We're also probably very fearful right now about finances. We're thinking, well, what am I going to do? How long can I go? What if deals don't close? What if I'm not doing any other deals right now? Now, first of all, you can be out trying to do deals. That's what's going through our heads, right? And because we don't know when this is going to end, sometimes that gets magnified a little bit, and we can't stop thinking about that. But understand that fear is 100% self-centered. See, fear is when you're focused on yourself. See, fear is about self-preservation. That's what fear is. Now, fear is a great thing if you're walking through the forest and a bear starts chasing you. Right? Fear will cause you to flee. Fear is a good thing if you're walking across the street and you happen to look to your right and you see a car coming at you fairly quickly, right? It'll cause you to move faster and get out of the way. So fear is good in certain circumstances because it causes us to flee. It causes us to try to protect ourselves. But in most other cases, fear is not good, because what it causes us to do is it causes us to step back. It causes us to cower. It causes us to back up into a corner. It causes us to not be taking proactive action. But what's really interesting is the minute we get outside of ourselves, fear dissipates. So let me show you what I mean. If you're holding open a door for somebody, it makes you feel good. If you buy somebody a coffee, it makes you feel good. Now, not only do they feel good because of what you've done, but you feel good, because the cool thing about it is the giver always gets the most. That's why when somebody hands us a gift, the greatest thing we can do for those people is just go, oh, thank you so much. I so much appreciate it. Never say, oh, you shouldn't have done that. No, because see, by you accepting the gift, you're allowing them to get something very special, because the giver gets the most. And understand that also giving starts the receiving process. So when we get outside of ourselves and stop thinking about ourselves, we start to feel good. And here's what I can assure you. If you get outside of yourself and you start making calls every single day, then what ends up happening is you start to feel better. Your customers start to feel better, because you're getting outside of yourself. You're helping them not think about their own problems during that conversation. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to deal with your problems, and I'm not saying there's not a time we got to sit down and we've got to manage through our finances. I get all of that. But the rest of the time, let's get outside of ourselves. Let's focus on helping others. We start making those calls every day. We start looking for great content. We start posting great content. We're focused on helping other people. We don't have time to think about what we're afraid of, which is a beautiful thing. And then when we stop doing all that, we can allow our thoughts to go back where they were at that time. But during that period, get outside of ourselves. So that would be the first thing I'd recommend. I think Jay said here, I missed his phrase, visibility is more important than ability, okay? So visibility is more important than ability. What I mean by that is great marketers, just because somebody's a great marketer doesn't mean they're the best real estate agent. They might be the best marketer. So visibility, now ability is important, but visible is everything. We got to be out there right now. Okay, so the first is get outside of yourself. The second is this. We need to embrace routine more than ever before. And here's why. When we're in a situation where we have complete uncertainty in our life, and I've had it, many times in my life. My wife's had 58 chemo treatments in her life. I've been through major financial crunches in my life. Like I know what it's like to be challenged and be wondering what's going to happen in the future. When we have major uncertainty in our life, the best thing we can do is control what I call the controllables. Control the controllables. So in other words, when I say control the controllables, what I'm talking about is that you can control your schedule every day to a large degree, maybe not perfectly. I understand that you might have kids at home and that throws you off schedule. I get all of that. But to a large degree, you can control your schedule every day. Now, my wife and I, what we did, because when this all happened, we decided, well, let's put into play our teaching, obviously, is one of the first things we created is, I know it sounds crazy, we created a meal plan. Now, why did we create a meal plan? Because we wanted to get together at the same time every day and enjoy meals together. Because, I look at it and say, we run the company together. She looks after operations, right? I'm more on the sales and value delivery side. And we want to have meal. And she wrote down every meal we're going to have. And this was last week's. We actually got a new one for this week. And I can tell you, actually, this week's been really good. But anyway, not that last week wasn't. But now we know we're having, and we know we're going to be together every day. So that brings a certain level of certainty and gives us something to look forward to. And we all need to have something to look forward to. Also, what about a schedule? What about, my wife created a rough draft of a schedule that we're sort of following together right now. It varies a little bit, but it shows, what time we're going to work out, what time we're actually, getting up, what time that she's going to be working and I'm going to be working, when we're going to be together, all those sort of things. And if you have kids at home, what I'd suggest is get a schedule for each person. Have it on your fridge. You might have, something on your fridge for, all your kids have their own for the day so they can see what you're doing and you can see what it is they're doing and schedule time together. Okay? So that would be sort of the next one. And then the last one is this, when it comes to managing your mindset. It's interesting, but as a coach, I hear all of the time, I don't have time to, right? I don't have time to work on my listing presentation. I don't have time to work on my buyer presentation. I don't have time to clean up my database, right? It's like, we hear this, we do it, I do it, you do it, we all do it. So here's what I'm going to suggest to you all, is what I'm going to say is, why not take this time to complete a number of major projects you want to complete? So an example of that, you might create a list. What would be the, say, 5 top things or 3 top things, it doesn't have to be a lot, that you would like to get complete, that is a project that you haven't had time to do? And maybe get some yellow stickies, put them on your wall, put your projects up on the wall, you complete it, put a big D on it or something like that, to give yourself some visible progress. Because visible progress, that's why people like to-do lists, they get to check stuff off, right? But it's the same thing, when you have visible.
I lost my server. Oh, it's because I logged in on the other. I had 2 eXp worlds going, folks, which I just realized I can't do. Live and learn. I was trying to be in eXp world doing something else while this class was going on as 2 Blakes, and I learned I can't. So now you're going to see how the front of eXp world works as I go back into that meeting room. Sorry about this, folks. So this is the main meeting area, the main entry to eXp world. I'm going into Canadian
I'm
operations.
talking about, of course, we've got to be making these phone calls. We got to be bigger than the situation. And the second,
in the back of
I want to leave you with the second thought is this, is what we focus on gets bigger.
Where Marlene is.
So if we focus on the negative every day, guess what it's going to do? It's going to get bigger. If we focus on the positive every day, it gets bigger in our world. Whatever we give energy to grows. And the cool thing is, focus is a choice. We can choose to focus on everything that's wrong in our life, or we can choose to focus on everything that's right in our life. We can look at somebody and focus on what we don't like, or we can look at somebody and focus on what we do like. We can go to our office, like my office at home, and I can focus on everything I don't like about my office, or I can focus on everything I do like about my office. It's a choice. Focus is a choice, right? And unfortunately, there's some people love the drama of negativity, but it doesn't work. Get away from negative people right now. We all need to focus on the positive and allow our focus to grow, especially when we're focused on the right things. So a couple things you might want to do just to help you in the future is you can obviously you can follow us. If you want to go to the website, richardrobbins.com, and you can subscribe to our blog there. We're putting out lots of great content right now. You can also follow me on Instagram. You can follow me Facebook. It's Richard Robbins Official. It's my business page on Facebook. And we've also got a podcast called The Richard Robbins Show, and we have released many, many great episodes that I think you would find valuable at this particular time. So just subscribe to The Richard Robbins Show, and you'll receive a notification every time we release another podcast, another episode. So thank you for being on today. I hope the talk was helpful to you. If there's anything else we can do, please let us know. And I guess at this point, I'll turn it back to Ron.
Are there any questions for Richard?
Really enjoyed that, Richard.
It was great. Thank you.
Hey, somebody said here, I guess I can just read the questions here. It says, obviously a lot of thank yous. You're all so welcome. Where can you get the podcast? You can subscribe to it on iTunes, Stitcher, so any place podcasts are available, you can subscribe to the podcast there. So I'll just read some of, I don't know, everybody can probably see this anyway. Thanks a bunch. Great advice for reconnecting with our clients for genuine reasons. Yeah. You know the cool thing about right now, everybody, in terms of reaching out to our clients? This is the coolest time in the world to do it, because generally when agents need to be reaching out to people, it's an comfortable thing in most cases they're doing, because they know that they have an intention, and their intention is to find people who want to buy and sell real estate. But what's really cool right now is your intention is just to help. It's just to listen. It's just to see how they're doing. Like, that's your whole intention. And that means the calls become comfortable. Because whenever you're trying to help somebody, we have no resistance to that. But it's when we're trying to get something that we have resistance to it. Because there's no rejection when you're trying to give. So I really highly recommend you make it right now. And I promise you this, like, you're making all these calls, but they will pay dividends. There's no question they will pay dividends in the future. Okay, somebody said they're going to check out Calendly. That's great. Calendly is a great, Calendly, I should say, is a great app. You quite a while to learn how to say it. I sound under the weather. Yes, I've got a little bit of a cold, and yes, it's just a cold. And how I know that is because I got a runny nose, so it's all good. When all this passes, how do you recommend we attack the probably insane and hot market? Well, I would say when this is over, first of all, my belief is if you're making all these phone calls right now, you're going to know everybody that is potentially going to come on the market, which is a thing. So you're going to know all the leads. So you can maybe even start helping them get their homes ready right now, that sort of thing. But I would say when this unfolds, the most important thing we all can do is we can only handle so much. And I always say, I have a schedule and I follow my schedule every day. That's all I think about. My schedule is my boss because I can only do so much. And my schedule always includes time off. My schedule always includes, times with my family and my wife. So even when it gets really, really busy, I still think what's really important is that we manage our schedule. And it's interesting, but a lot of people, it's like this. If you ask anybody, you say, what is most important in your life? People will always say family. But then I see so many people in the world that I would ask them, I say, does your schedule demonstrate that? Like, if I was to follow you around all day long and see what you do, would your actions demonstrate that? And unfortunately, in some cases, I don't think they do, even though their family is most important. They will tell you that. And I'm not saying their family isn't most important, but their actions and their schedule is not demonstrating that. People that I have the most respect for are the people that have built a great business, but they've also got great balance in their life. Because it's easy just to work all the time. I always say that's the easiest thing to do in the world. Right? That's not a problem. What is really hard to do is make sure that we keep all of our priorities in line. So, and this is a great time to be thinking about all that, because we've all probably been to that place that we get so busy, we get caught up in it sometimes. I've been there, and I'm sure you've been there as well, that it becomes, that becomes our routine, right? That becomes our new habit. Okay, so let me see. What do you say to people who are scared and not showing their places? Well, in all fairness, I think if somebody is really scared and they don't want to show their home right now, if that's what the question is, you need to take that home off the market, right? Or if they have to, then maybe they made to make arrangements to live somewhere else while this is all going on. Okay? What is the status with RI in Vancouver? We have an event coming up in July. We're in the process of working with the hotel right now, so we're hoping to move that. But we will let you know. We'll make the announcement as soon as we know. Are you still doing That's funny. I stopped doing the monthly updates, and I've gone to quarterly updates. And we will be recording the quarterly update Monday morning. The numbers are being put together right now for Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and Toronto, and they will probably be published on Tuesday, hopefully. So yes, you should see that come out. Hey Richard, thank you. Are you still doing? Yep, got that. Let me see. Thank you. I love the concept of embracing routine. This was a great distinction for me today. Great. I would say when it comes to embracing routine, the concept there is to control what I call the controllables. Like, control what it is that you can control, because there's so many things we can't control, but we also want to have some control. Makes us feel a little bit better. Okay, I think that is it that I see. Ron, have I missed anything?
Dana, I'm just trying to. It's about the not having a database. How do you?
It was a little hard to hear you there. There's a lot of feedback.
I'm gonna type it.
Okay, so we'll type it in. I'll get to it here. Just looking at all the questions here. Okay, if you are a newer realtor without a database, what do you do at this time? I've been asked that a number of times, and that's a really, really good question. First of all, we all know people. Like, so I look at it this way. So if you know somebody first name, they should be in your database. Now, this is the perfect time to be reaching out to people if you're a brand new agent and doing exactly the same thing. These could be people you do business with, could be family, could be friends, could be people from a previous career, whatever the case is. Anybody you know by first name is somebody you can reach out to. When you reach out to them, what you actually want to do is then you want to put them into your database. And you want to start creating a database because this is the perfect time to do that. And for those of you who are followers ours, you know that you can get a 20% return on your database. What I mean by that, if you have 50 people in a database, that's worth 10 deals a year to you. If you follow our, we call it the LRS, the Lifetime Referral System. So everything that people should be doing right now is building up their database, cleaning their database, right? Making sure their database has really great notes, the information, email addresses, cell phone numbers, all that sort of thing. And you can do that by reaching out to people, okay, and making sure that all the information is right. So you should be building your database right now. Okay, great presentation. Scared. How do you recommend pricing? I don't quite know the, like right now, how would I recommend pricing? You're going to be pricing homes according to, when prices are changing rapidly, you have to be pricing homes according to your competition that's on the market, almost sometimes more so than homes that have sold. So what I would look at is I would take the 3 to 4 comparable homes, because let's face it, you know, depending on what's going to happen as this continues, probably going to see a smaller percentage of homes that are selling. So, you know, in a really hot market, if you had 10 listings, chances are 7 or 8 of those would sell in the month. If the market starts to change, if you had 10 listings, there's a chance that maybe only 4 of those or 3 of those, I don't know what the number is, but a fewer number of homes are going to sell. So if that is the case, then what you want to do is you want to establish when you go to market, who is our competition? In other words, if a buyer was to go look in the geographical area and price range of the home that you're about to list, what is your immediate competition? And what you have to do is you have to price accordingly to make sure you're the one that hopefully will be the one to sell. Now, it's got to show well, we know all of that, but if homes, they all show well, if you got full access, you know, so that people can see the homes virtually, of course, then price becomes the major issue. What's going to happen with prices in the future at this point in time? I don't know. And I don't think any of us can know. When this is over, the market could absolutely take off because of pent-up demand, or maybe because of the challenges economically that, you know, maybe it won't. I tend to think that the market will be good when we come out of this. But I'm an optimist, okay? So that would be my comments on pricing. I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, so that's about it. That's the last one, I think. Thanks, everybody, and I'll turn it back over to Ron.
Well, thank you very much, Richard. It was great having you out. A great presentation. I think very timely. We look forward to having you back in the future. And you and Dana are certainly welcome to watch Alberta beat Kansas in our soccer tournament, if you'd like.
Woohoo!
That starts at the top of the hour, I assume.
That's the hour. If you want to stay, I'll watch you how to get there.
Okay.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whoever I said this to, it's Blake.
Thank you, Richard.
I am going to anyway, if you're seeing this, if I've emailed this to you or if it's on my Facebook page, eXp World passes where there's classes like this, 70 hours every week. They've extended guest passes to agents, non-eXp agents, to the end of May. So if you're interested,
So
let
are you
me
still
know
muted?
and I'll set you up. Stay safe.